Here we've got a Panasonic R-1077. I got this on eBay out of a lot of radios that I bought. It comes in the box, and it even has the original instructions in here, which is pretty cool. Doesn't have the headphones, but there's kind of a pouch where I think they would have went. It's not a big deal, but now there it shows the model number. Really cool. This has 7 transistors. So you kind of look at that. One of the people on the unboxing video said that this is caused from the strap. It's like a chemical reaction, and that is, man, that lines up with exactly the way it was stored. So don't know if that, but I've seen that on other radios. So it otherwise seems to be in pretty good shape. Does have a dial cord, and then it has this text at the bottom. I'll overlay where you can see that. Well, you might be able to see it on the video, but it's made in Japan by Matsushita, Panasonic. And AI says that it was made between 67 and 71, if you can believe that. In Radio Museum, I think there was some different. There was several pages of it on Radio Museum, so they must have made a lot of these. But we've got somewhere at the top here, we've got a converter. That may be the converter. I haven't looked at the service data yet. But this is our final audio, and there's supposed to be 2. So the reason why it has 7 is it has 2 transistors for the driver, or the preamp, and then it has 2, which you normally see for the output. So there's our 7th transistor. We get a slightly theoretically better audio amplifier, and then we get, so I think I understand what's going on here now. I think we're going to go converter, first IF, second IF. I don't know where the detector diode is. It's hard to see through the camera, but yeah, I'm thinking converter, first IF, second IF. Have we got a diode up here? Probably. I'll have to look for it, but or look on the service data. So anyway, the seller says that it works. They tested it and it works. So that would be kind of awesome. I'll replace the capacitors, but if these are Matsushita Panasonic capacitors, if they're like anything like the last one that I worked on was from, I think it was from 77 or 78. They were in really good shape. I mean, it was shocking how good they were, but I want to restore it to a good working condition and just kind of have some fun doing some soldering. So if that turns out to be true, then I might just kind of go through and kind of start with whichever one we think might be the worst culprit and go through them that way. But yeah, I think we're going to get it hooked to the seller says he's tested it, so it's been connected to, it's had a battery connected, obviously without a current limiting device. But I'm gonna go ahead and hook it up to a grain of wheat and in my amp meter. The service data that I found on Google says, I believe it was 8 milliamps idle, 48 milliamps max. 48 milliamps would it would just suck a 9-volt battery like inside out. I think that. So this thing, I mean, it might get pretty darn loud. It'll be interesting to see, but we'll get it powered up here. All right, let's switch it on. I got us going through a grain of wheat. Well, if we could see the grain of wheat, it would be okay. It's right there. Something's probably not hooked up. Let's try a battery that's not dead. I had to solder an alligator clip on the ends of my grain of wheat bulb. It was just getting too frustrating to make it contact. So we don't edit that stuff out around here because, I mean, this is not a studio. This is a workbench. So let's try it again. So we're definitely current draw looks pretty good with no station or idling. I guess the specs say with no station, but they don't say what the volume level would be. But let's see if we can pick up a station. I'm going to turn this computer monitor off because we're getting a lot of interference from that. That should. Let me turn this camera off too, or this microscope, I should say.
Understands that things today are uncertain. Many people are asking AI, what's the meaning of life? Only to come up emptier than before. And that's why he challenged the Leading the Way team to develop a tool that's able to redeem this creeping into AI.
So we're definitely not getting 48 milliamps max, but this battery I think is 8 volt, right at 8 volts. I checked it, so it does sound like the audio. I don't know. It doesn't sound super great, but the reception there seemed to be a little bit lackluster. So we could have some issues with some electrolytics. So I think I'll look at the schematic and I think I'll go after maybe the AGC circuit first, and either that or the audio decoupling. We'll see. So I went ahead and pulled the audio decoupling capacitor first because it's likely to be the one that would make some sort of a difference. I mean, and one thing in the last scene there, when I looked at the max current draw was around 20 milliamps. I don't know how I completely forgot we were going through the grain of wheat. So I'm sure when it's connected without that we would get the full 50 milliamps, as they say, or at least I hope we would. But I pulled the audio decoupling capacitor, and I don't know what's going on here. This thing is supposed to be a 0.30 or a point. Yeah, they say 0.30, and it's actually a 0.47, but as you can see, it's it's out of tolerance by quite a bit. Would that be 30% out or something? And it's not showing me ESR for some reason. So, and this is a 50 volt capacitor. So has someone worked on this before? Because I mean, they had the same. If they did, they had the same idea I did. I didn't have any .33s, but I had some .47s, or I might have some .33s if I was to dig harder. But yeah, that's kind of making me. It almost makes me think someone worked on it. But then, if that capacitor was newer, why would it test so bad? Or I mean, it's not, maybe it's obviously not that bad, but it's definitely an older capacitor. It's out of spec. So anyway, I'm going to get that soldered back in. I had to deal with the dial cord. I don't want to flip this over and unravel it from that wheel. I'm trying to be very careful so I can get the dial cord back. So cross your fingers. All right. Positive goes on the right. All I had was 100 volt 10 UFs. I gotta order some more of these sizes for stuff like this. When I was digging for this one, I did find a whole bag of .33s. Brand, I don't think I've ever even took one out. They were Rubicons too, but oh well. I put the .47 in, and that's what was there anyway from the factory. It looks like, so I don't, it doesn't matter. But yeah, that 100 volts. Well, maybe it'll go in there. Yeah, it'll go more. So it won't stick up too much. When you consider just how old this radio is, and assuming, I think we can safely assume that those are the, I've got a zip tie here to kind of keep that, wire at bay. Yeah, if we can assume that those are factory capacitors, then I think that's pretty cool that they're still that good. And the one of these that I worked on that was, I don't remember the model number, it was an AM FM, and it was made, it had really good capacitors in it, but it was made in like 77 or something. So this is almost another decade older, and you still have, the capacitors are still in pretty darn good shape. So definitely something to be said for, wonder why people speak so highly of. I could have clipped that a little shorter, but why people speak so highly about the Panasonic capacitors. They've got a reputation for a reason, I suppose. They're just that good. I use them quite a bit. I don't use them exclusively because they can be expensive. But if I can get them at a good price, I know a lot of times on LCSC or somewhere like that, they'll have deals where they're going to kind of discontinue one line and they kind of start like a new line, and I guess a lot of the big manufacturers, they don't want to do that because they may only have 1,000 in stock or something, but that doesn't bother me one bit. I'll buy them. So you can get them at better prices if you catch them like that sometimes, but generally, I mean, you're going to pay for, if you want a Panasonic, you're going to pay for it. So I got a lot of Rubicons. It is cold in my garage, so don't judge me too hard here. I mean, it's like 15 degrees outside and snow, and solders is not wanting to flow too well. That looks okay, I think. Get this zip tie out of the way. Clean the flux up, but I think we should. Well, I've got to add a little solder back there. I think we're missing some here too. That would probably make a connection, but I don't want to blob it on, but we can do better than that. Okay. Well, I'm not going to get closer to that wire, that dial cord. That's just, it is what it is, so. Yeah, and I think maybe I'll bump that with the solder wig, but I think we're good. I am hearing definitely a difference in audio quality and volume. Volume pot's scratchy, but
And it probably signed Philip Rivers. Look down their nose.
reception's very acceptable. And it's daytime here. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and continue replacing the rest of the electrolytics. Okay, the next victim is this C10 here. So here's the final audio. Here's your audio preamp driver. And then you've got C10 here. I guess this is some sort of, I don't know if it has to do with the AGC or if it's just for stability or both. But interesting, it says here that it's supposed to be a 6-volt capacitor at 10 microfarads. Well, it's a 10 microfarad, but it's only a 3-volt capacitor. So the first one that I took out was a 50-volt, which I found really odd. All the ones I've worked on, they don't really go over on voltage. Yeah, that capacitor's smoked. Well, it's testing different now. So now it's testing 14, but when I tested it a while ago, it tested 56 with a V loss of 20%. So, yeah, I don't think it's, may not be in there good, but it's definitely not real good capacitor. I mean, they're not completely bad to stop it from working, obviously, but the ESR is not bad. That's not that bad. It's really not. But they have, you would think someone's changed them, because a 3-volt, that's getting pretty low. You don't really, I don't see that in these radios, but it has the Matsushita logo on it. Unless I'm mistaken, that's And, well, I don't think the camera would focus on it, but it does. It has the little triangle logo. I mean, I know a lot of other people who are into this stuff. They love the they use the Nichicon or Panasonic capacitors, but I mean, this looks like ones I've seen in older radios. It doesn't look like it was anything that was made anytime recently at all. So I think they are original, and doesn't look like it's ever been soldered on either. It looks pretty darn factory. So I guess from the factory, they just, I mean, according to Radio Museum, they made the radio for 4 years. So I'm sure they went through some changes along the line. They may have went from a 6 volt to a 3 volt there to cut cost. And that one that was a 50 volt 0.47, they may have just had some of those around they wanted to use up, or maybe they ran out of the 0.3s. Who knows? But anyway, I'll get that one back in there and we'll move on to the next. We've only got two more. Well, that one's testing 53 and it's supposed to be a 33, so it's almost doubled. ESR is okay. I'll look up on the schematic and see what that one is. It was something to think it was in the audio, but I'll see what it actually is before I pull the next one. That was that last one was a 6.3 volt and not a 3 volt. I couldn't read it. This one that I pulled, it was supposed, according to the schematic, it was a 10, but it's a 33. So I'm putting a 33 back because I have a lot more 33s. I'm starting to run out of 10s. I need to order some capacitors. I've got an order kind of started, but I haven't got everything added to the cart yet that I want. So I'm going to get my iron tinned. I think that's okay. Alright, let's put that one in the tester that I just pulled. So the last one I looked up, it was supposed to be a 30. Actually, I got confused. And that one it was definitely, that one was for the AGC. And this one is, it's like a filter capacitor. It looks like just for the power supply for the battery. It's what it looked like to me on the schematic, and it's supposed to be a 50. So the V-loss is not great, but I couldn't get the leads in here, so so the alligator clips may add a little to it, but that one's, other than being leaky, it's not bad at all. But that's, we'll get that last one soldered back in, and I think we'll be on our way. I think changing those last two did make some difference. I think the AGC circuit is in a little bit better shape, although the volume control was really good before, so I don't feel like the AGC was suffering too much. But I was hearing a lot more interference from this microscope up here and the phone and computer and everything else, and it definitely, I think, changing that filter capacitor, it's seemed to really crisp up some of the background noise in the audio there. So the stronger stations are very crisp now, and they were just about 90% before. So I'm really happy with the performance of it. This is kind of what you face on these old radios, but all these wires here, this is right one wire and then two wires literally connected to the legs of the capacitor that I need to get to. And so in trying to solder two wires onto one trace, it's never fun. that's just something that you kind of have to deal with on these radios. I'm debating on whether I want to put a new battery connector on it or not. That one's in darn good shape, really. I'll look at it. I may change it. I don't know. Seems to be working pretty good. The case doesn't want to stay shut very well because of, I guess, because of that little damage at the bottom and the. But it's not the end of the world. This was a lot of fun.
Anything power lines are touching can be dangerous, including the ground. Series. Abdul Mateen II and Academy Award winner Ben Kingsley. Both at 800, 900, 8,000.
It's not dark yet.
871. This crunchy, tangy combo. Roundabout the throne and Uteros is the Greek word. Our Presbyterian.
Need to
the little girl came home from church.
It gets pretty loud.
Mother,
I'll bet it would pull the full 50 milliamps if I had to guess. So, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. There wasn't any really exciting diagnosis for a change. I honestly was kind of looking for something a little easier than some of the really tough stuff that I've been into lately, and that I'm going to go back to. But it was nice just to kind of restore something and get it all cleaned up and have a really nice working radio. And that I don't think a guy has to really make excuses for coming out to his workbench and playing around with a soldering iron for a couple hours. So we'll see y'all in the next video.